With the Halo community being pretty split right now with the health of Halo Infinite, MCC, and just generally the franchise, I wanted to make the least controversial video possible. But then I scrapped that idea and decided to make a tier list. Today, I'm going to be creating the most controversial tier list on YouTube relating to the best Halo games that have ever came out. This is, of course, from the Bungie days leading all the way up until now. And I've never done a tier list before. A lot of people always ask me, Wizzo, what's your favorite Halo game? What's your least favorite game? I'm going to do it. Controversial as it might be, this is my favorite Halo games from worst all the way up until the best. But without further ado, let's dive straight in. So, on screen, this is the tier list to begin with. I've put the 3 games that I've never personally played in the never played section, so we can completely skip over those. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know that Spartan Strike and Fireteam Raven were games I could play. So, but let's focus on these bad boys right here at the bottom. Now, this is just a preface from me before we get into this. These are my games that I've had the best memories and best experiences with friends and just generally overall enjoyment. This isn't just categorically what is the best here and what is the best here, because that tier list is probably completely different. This is what I feel as though is my favorite, what I've enjoyed the most, and what I have the best memories with. You guys will obviously have different opinions, so leave them down below in the comments. I would love to see them, and just a nice little different video to break things up. Starting off with Halo Reach. This is by far the Halo I've played the most. 100%. I remember Halo Reach being the game where you could just grind online infection, whether it's TDM, invasion, anything like that, and you could earn credits to unlock armor pieces. You could get different firefight voices, you could get visor colors, you can get the purple flaming helmet by doing a couple of tricks here and there, which a lot of my friends didn't have, so I was the only one. Or you could get the red or orange flaming helmet by just playing the game and unlocking it through credits. There was so much in Halo Reach which I absolutely loved, like the firefight as well, like the cross challenge progression you could do as well, have your daily and weekly challenges. The weekly challenge will be a campaign based thing, or it could be get like 1,000 kills on multiplayer or something like that. There was some really cool incentives in that game, and it was just my favorite game of all time. One of my favorite Halo games of all time. I loved Halo Reach. Controversial with the campaign and things, but for me, Halo Reach goes nowhere else on the list but S+ tier. If I could go back to 2010 right now and just play Halo Reach non-stop with the servers being live with friends, this would be definitely the place I would put it. As I mentioned, this isn't just generally what is the best, this is my tier list, is what I enjoyed and what I liked the most. All of my friends enjoyed this game. Custom games was an absolute, just what a genius idea to have custom games on this game. And it took it to the next level with Forge as well and creating maps and stuff. So this was honestly my favorite game, Halo game of all time, just because of the experiences that I've had. The next one being Halo 2. Halo 2 for me is, again, one of my favorite Halo games, not just because of the likes of the level design or whatever it might be, but because of the story in that campaign. For me, Halo 2 has the best story, written story in the series. When I first played that game, it was like literally booting up a movie and playing through my favorite movie. It was so good, from the cutscenes, from how everything was directed. And coming off the back of the terrible development of Halo 2 and the amount of missions that had to be scrapped and just how linear the missions were, that was obviously a big factor why Halo 2, in a lot of people's eyes, isn't the best Halo game. But just judging from a story perspective, how I felt playing the story and reflecting on that right now, Halo 2 for me is an easy S tier. It is the absolute pinnacle of storytelling. It's amazing in my opinion, and I think it absolutely craps on pretty much any other storytelling experience that I've ever played. So I love Halo 2, S tier for me. Now, Halo 3. Halo 3 is one of those games where you jump into it and have so many things that you can do, so many sandbox items to try and get to know. Halo 3 was one of those games where I was looking forward to this for years. I was looking forward to this as soon as I finished Halo 2. I was looking forward to Halo 3. I remember, I've said the story before, but I came home one day and my dad had pre-ordered Halo 3 without telling me, and it was just sat there on the table waiting for me when I got home. Unfortunately for me though, the disc didn't work and I couldn't get past the main menu, which was really irritating, and I had to send it back, wait another day or two, and then get the new copy. But the way that Halo 3 made you feel, the multiplayer of Halo 3, which was ridiculous, but I played a lot of the campaign, I played a lot of Forge, but I didn't play a lot of multiplayer. And for that reason, Halo 3 for me goes in A tier. I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, I know it, but Halo 3 was one of those games that I thought was just outstanding, but I didn't play it enough to get the full feel of what the multiplayer was all about. Like Halo Reach, I put hundreds of hours into that game. Halo 3 though, I didn't put that many hours into it, and I'm not as familiar with the online side of Halo 3 than what I would be with the Halo Reach side of things. So for that reason, it goes in A tier. Halo 5 Guardians. This one for me is a bit of a controversial one. I'm not a massive fan of Halo 5 Guardians. I like a good tactical shooter online, that is. I enjoy playing through it. I enjoy playing the more tactical side of things. I think it's fun, but I wasn't a massive fan of the story, and I wasn't a massive fan of the multiplayer. So for that reason, Halo 5 Guardians will sit in a C for me. It's not my favorite game of all time. It's definitely not one that I've played a hell of a lot either, to be quite honest. And for me, yeah, it doesn't go any higher than C tier. Now, Halo Wars 2. Halo Wars 2 for me is very similar to Halo 5 Guardians, but the one thing that Halo Wars 2 has the upper hand on Guardians with is that story. The story for me in Halo Wars 2 is outstanding, and it's a shame really for me because I don't really like the RTS style of games. I'm not a fan of it, and to be honest, I thought the Halo Wars 2 gameplay was just awful. I really don't like that type of game, and for those that do, fair play. I'm just not a fan of it. The storyline, however, was absolutely outstanding, and it was crafted very, very well by the teams, introducing the like of Atriox and the new faction, the Banished, and obviously Jerome 092, Red Team, and the Spirit of Fire, with all of the people on the crew aboard that ship as well. It was just a really fun story to follow. The cutscenes were outstanding as well, and credit to Blur for that too. For me, it would feel criminal for me to put Halo Wars 2 at C tier. I thought the story was that good. It deserves at least a spot on the B tier. I never really played too much of Halo Wars 2, but the story was that good that I feel like it would be criminal to go below B. Halo Combat Evolved. The one that started it all. Halo Combat Evolved was one of those games where I would play on New Year's Eve with friends, or when our parents were downstairs getting drunk, having a good time, partying. We were upstairs or in the living room, just playing multiplayer on the story or in a custom games match. This for me was one of those games that was just the pinnacle of my childhood. I loved this game. There's a lot of memories playing this as well, trying to glitch out of the map, driving all the way out to the edge of the water on the silent cartographer. It was just a great experience for me. For me, Halo Combat Evolved is no lower than an S tier. It's very much in line with Halo 2. I thought that the gameplay in Combat Evolved was very, very good, and it really suited that multiplayer experience, especially on those maps as well on the original Xbox. Yeah, this game was very, very good for me in my childhood, and I had a great time playing it with friends as well. And it wasn't until pretty late on into my sort of gaming reign, I think around sort of like maybe 11, 12, 13, that I actually started to appreciate how good the story was in Combat Evolved, and sort of look into how good it was and play it a bit more and try and understand it a bit more as well, away from that is of multiplayer that I was playing at a younger age with, of course, my friends. So Combat Evolved will always have a place in my heart, and for that reason, it sits at S tier. Now, Halo 3 ODST. A lot of people don't like this game for the reason being that you're not the chief and you don't have Cortana with you at all times. You're a vulnerable ODST going through New Mombasa, trying to find out what happened and to essentially escape with. And it just tells the story from a different perspective, and I personally loved that. The one thing that I love the most about a video game is how good and engaging the story is. If the story gives you a reason to want to be involved in that story, to appreciate the surroundings and the atmosphere, and to understand what the character is going through, I love that appeal, and I love the way that this game made me feel when I was playing through it. Again, I never put a lot of time into Halo 3 ODST. However, the story for me is criminally underrated. A lot of people give this game a bad rap. A lot of people didn't like the characters in the story in terms of the actual team that you were with. The hate towards this game, I can kind of understand the hate towards the Halo Reach campaign, but the ODST one, I really, really enjoyed the ODST campaign, and I really liked the storyline that followed too. I didn't play the multiplayer on ODST, however, I presume it was the same as 3, and this was the game that introduced Firefight as well, which has gone on to be a staple in the last couple of games other than than Halo Infinite, of course. But for me, Halo 3 ODST's story brings it to a level A tier with Halo 3. I think this is a solid game, and I really hope they do make a sequel in the next couple of years. Now, Halo 4. Halo 4 for me was one of those games, I remember getting it for Christmas, and I was playing it with my friend, and annoyingly enough, I was really enjoying Halo 4, but then like 3 days after I'd got it, I was going away on holiday to spend New Year's Eve on a cruise ship. It was one of those games I thought about the entire holiday coming home and playing, and when I got home, my friends were such higher levels than me, and it was just, yeah, it was a shame, so I had to grind to get up to that level that they were as well. But for me, I loved Call of Duty. I'd always been a massive fan of it, so the changes for me back in the day were actually welcomed. I enjoyed the creator class system. I enjoyed the way that it had to copy Call of Duty, just because I was like a COD fanboy back in the day. However, now putting on my level hat, I can see why these changes and choices were very controversial back in the day. I liked Halo 4 personally. I liked the sandbox within Halo 4. I thought the Prometheans were a really good implementation, and I welcomed that new storyline, especially the campaign. At first, I didn't really gel with it, but when I became a bit older, a bit more mature, and actually took a step back and tried to think about what the campaign was about and learn about it, then I started to appreciate the writing in the story and some of the characters that were there as well. I thought Halo 4 was a very good game, and for that reason, I would put Halo 4 at A tier. A lot of people are going to hate me for this, for peaking at level with Halo 3 and ODST, but hear me out, this is my experience, the multiplayer experience that I had. I didn't have a massive multiplayer experience in Halo 3, or I didn't have a massive multiplayer experience on ODST, but I thought the story on Halo 4 and the multiplayer were good enough to put it in level with an A tier. I can't go any higher. For me, Halo 3 is on the verge of an S and an A tier for me, but that is, yeah, Halo 4, A tier. Don't hate me. I know I'm going to get so much shit for that in the comments. And finally, Halo Wars, the original. I didn't play too much of it, to be quite honest with you, and the storyline, I never really followed it, so for that reason, I'm going to put it at C tier. I did play it a little bit here and there, but it wasn't enough to be like, yeah, that's like really good or on par with Halo Wars 2. I think Halo Wars 2 is a massive step up from Halo Wars, and for that reason, it goes in C tier. But for me, this is my official tier list for the Halo games. It goes Halo Reach at S+ tier, Halo 2 and Halo Combat Evolved at S tier, Halo 3 at A tier along with ODST and Halo 4, B tier is Halo Wars 2, and C tier is Halo 5 and Halo Wars, along with the 3 that I'd never played. That is my official tier list, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, but I know I'm going to get a lot of people disagreeing with this, and a lot of people might say, how is Halo 3 only an A tier, and how is Halo 4 and Halo 3 in line with one another? I get it, I understand, but as I mentioned at the beginning, this isn't just like a factual list. This is just what I grew up with. This is what I experienced as a young kid, and this is what I had the most fun on in pretty much a list. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. It's something a bit different. The Call of Duty beta is out tonight, so I'll be playing that. Maybe I'll stream, I don't know, I'll have to wait and see. But from now on, there will be a little less amount of Halo videos on the channel until we start to pick up, until news comes out, until new campaign stuff, or whatever it might be, until Season 3 essentially, or the update in December or November. There will be less, and there'll be more the likes of Call of Duty and other games as well. So bear with me, guys. I would love to just main Halo, but unfortunately Halo's not in a position to do that right now. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe if you guys are brand new, and we'll see you all in the very next one.